In this session, going to be cover the some of the topic which related to the process concepts as a part of the model 1 course called Operating System 18 CS 43 for Computer Science 4th semester. So let me begin. The contents going to be present in this session. We'll going to be quickly discuss the process concept, which may contains the how to create the process, what is the benefit of it. After creation, then how to stop them, right? So because they will acquire a lot of resource when created, and it will be served for the who created that process, that is a parent process, will look after that. As soon as completion, it has to be report back to the parent. So parents will wait for certain time till a child has to be completes the task, and it's come back, then immediately it will be destroy the all the relevance information which is stored in the main memory, right? So that is a termination. So after discussing this creation and termination process, so will we see how the processes are talk to each other, how they will be exchange the message. So that can be possible through the inter-process communication system calls, right? So inter-process communication system calls will be there. So from user mode to kernel mode, right? So system call will be generated at the user mode, and it has to be perform some operation which is in the premise of the kernel mode, right? So that kernel mode can contact only through the system call. So that different system calls will support for inter-process communication that we will going to be discussed. So shared memory concept is one of the major inter-process communication which happen in most of the operating system. So for especially for the large amount of data they want to transfer or exchange, so that could be possible through the shared memory concept. Most of the operating system will be encased this the facility. The second method is a message passing interface, right? Message passing interface will be pass the message or exchange the message between the process through the set of library functions, right? So this is for small amount of data compared to the shared memory concept. So message passing will use for only small amount of data can be transferred from process to process, right? So that is also going to be discussed in detail. Under this category, there are variety of techniques are there. One technique called naming. From the naming, there is a tool called pipe technology, right? Piping process. Through the pipe, the process can exchange the information. Also, they can use the mailbox, right? So mailbox will be just our post box. So all the process will put the message there. From the mailbox, it will be dispatched to the respective process, right? So that is the naming concept. And also the part of the message passing technique, synchronization, right? With help of the synchronization technique also, so we have to achieve the message passing technique. And other one is a buffering technique. So there is a buffer is there in between the process. So depends on the length of the buffer, the message will be go to the buffer and sit there, and it will be diverted to the next process, right? So process will send to information to the buffer. From the buffer to will go to the destination process, right? So let me see the information that process creation. So we will see that the process will create program. You know that program is a offline, it is a passive entity. When the program will be go into the stage of running program execution phase, running phase or execution phase, then program become a process. So in order to perform this program, there is several processes will be required. So that parent process creates the children process, which in turn creates other process, forming a tree of processes. So we will see the tree structure how that. Generally, process identified and managed via with a unique ID called process ID, PID, right? So process will have priority. Resource sharing option will be there, right? When the process will be created, so their child process and parent process newly created, they will share the some information, just like the parent child, what they will do at when the kids are small, the parents will give the some benefit to the kids, their wants they will look after, right? Similarly here, resource share by the parent and as well the child. Parent and children are all share all resource, right? Children share subset of parents resource, right? So parents will be share the subset of the parents resource. So parent and child share no resource, right? So there it will share the resource. So execution option will be there for process. So parent and child execute concurrently, right? So the task will be divided, the parent and child will be execute the task simultaneously. So parent waits until children terminate. Once the parents created the child, the responsibility of the child parent is, it has to wait till the child completes the task, right? So it has to wait where, that is at wait null function is there in most of the operating system, so that parents will be wait for their own children. So zombie process, we can say that if the no parent is waiting for the process, child process, then the zombie process will be occurred. So that process will call as a orphan process. It means no parents are there, so it will be terminated. So tree of the process link we can see in the Linux operating system. So initially that initiate PID 1, so it have a child k thread, under that k thread we have two child, that is a PID 6 and 200, so that is a k helper and PD flush, right? So in a Linux operating system, so we have another child for this one, that is a SSHD, the PID 3028. Under this we have child is a PID 3610, and we have under this TCSCH PID is 4005. So initially that login PID 40 bash 8410. So here the bash we have PS Emacs, right? So PID 9298 and 9. So this tree structure you can see that, so this root have three childs. So this child that become parent, then it become one more child. So this have this one, right? So grandchild will be formed, that is. So here the parent have with help of the fork function in most of the programming language. So use that is a fork function. It will be creates the child. Fork of this will be, see you can this is a parent process is eligible to have parents, sorry, children. So that fork will be that fork of 0. If it is 0 will be there. There is a child, one first child will be come out. It will be look after to work some task by which is assigned by the parents. So other fork will be, so that is we have a fork of fork is a 0, that is a grandchild, right? So this bash is a grandchild for the initiate. So PS is a grandchild for the login. So like that we have, so fork of 0 is a second child. So we have initiate, we have PID equal to 1, that is 3 childs are there, login k thread sh double shd, right? So the in this process will be going to be created. So let we continue this. The there is a address space will be shared by that children's with a duplicate of parent. Child has a program loaded into it. Child will be program loaded into it, that is. So here that Unix example you can observe. So that fork that we see in the seen in the previous slide. So that fork system call creates the new process. So it will be interact with the kernel from user to kernel, then it will create the process. Execute system call is will be there after fork to replace the process memory space with a new program. So this execute system call will be immediately after the fork it replace the process memory space with a new program. So that will be vacate the place, that is. So fork we have seen in the previous slide. So fork will be child will be run the program and execute. It will be complete its task and it go to the exit stage. By that time the parent will be waiting for that. So that parent will be waiting for his own child. So after completion of this, child will be report to the parent. So that child will be report to the parent, so that parent will be there and it will be resume this operation to submit the result. So let me see example of C program forking separate process. So with help of the C program, how it will fork that child process. So these are the system library, built-in library functions. Hash include that sys type.h stdio even istd, right. So those files we can include. They start with the main function, main program. So we have that PID, process ID, that the type. So we have a PID fork function will be executed. When the fork function will be executed, so child will be created, right. So child will be created. So PID is equal to parent is equal to n. So before fork executed, so we have a PID ID is not yet obtained. Once it is obtained, so that parent will be creates the child, it will execute, and till execution completion, parents will wait, right. Parents will wait. So and it has to report back to the parents. If no parents is waiting, then child becomes Jambi, orphan process. So that will be terminate, right. So there certain time will be happening due to that task assigned by the parent to the child, but actually that supposed to be wait till that child has to be come back and report to the parent. So then only that is a natural termination of the process, child process, right. So here we can see PID equal to fork that we created. So after fork executed, what will happen? Parent will be there and child will become. So for the parent, child has created and its ID will be there. So that PID will be there, right. That is a effort of the fork execution system call, right. So if now we can PID is obtained after fork successfully executed. So we can check based on the PID. So PID less than 0, that is error, no, that is a negative value. So we can fork failed, the poor child has not generated, so return that is. So other than this, else if PID is equal to 0, PID is equal to 0. So here what will happen? PID, since PID is equal to 0, so that execute CLP command has to be CLP system call has to be executed here. Why you know that exec CLP, what is a P? P means that process, right. So P is a process here, sorry, path. So P is a path here. Execute CLP, that's path. So slash bin slash ls ls null. Here this when I said that program initially it is a what is called passive event, right. So program is a passive event, no? Passive event. So now due to this PID is 0, so that the control flow deviation will be is to be made here. Control flow, I hope you are following. Control flow deviation will be taken here because of this PID is equal to 0. So control flow deviation will be happen. How it happens? See that when the program executed was submitted to the system, it is a passive entity. When it start execute, no, then it become active entity by process. So now flow is in the process mode, right. So process the control flow will be process execution. So now here similarly this program executed, this is also process, right. So since this PID is equal to 0, now this process mode to is changed into the control mode, command mode. It change it to the command mode. How you can change the command mode? By executing the ls command. Ls is also process. Ls is a built-in function or system call. By executing this ls, now it become a one more process, right. Process in the process. So due to execution of the ls basically command. When you execute the command, it become process, right. So now process to process, it goes to the command mode, right, command mode. So that's why PID is equal to 0. By executing exe CLP system call, the control will go to the command mode. There in the command mode, it will execute the ls. No, ls means list. It will list the whatever the files are there in a directory. So in the bin directory, so that is there, so that will be performed, that is. So let me see another possibility. So like this, the flow after command mode, it has to be come back to main, come back to the main, that is a process. So like this, so this deviation will be happening, process to command, command to process. So this happen depends upon the program what we submitted. So anyhow, so after executing CLP, execute CLP, it executed the ls command, that is also process, right? So after executing that, what is a fork? We have seen that PID is equal to x. So here we have n is equal to y. After x CLP executed, so the child will be it will doing some command work, that is a command execution. So else, so we can come back to once again, PID is not less than 0, PID is not equal to 0, then definitely certain process, child process has created. So that child process has created, it started work in the background. So here, so parent has to wait till the child has to be come back, and after his completion of the job, right? So now this part, else part here, so it is a process, definitely process, child process has created, and it is taken a work and started its work, it is in the background, right? So now we have to, we have to wait, the parent who has created that child, so parent has to wait till the child process has to complete this job, right? So that is a function with a wait null. Wait null means wait system call, it is again is a process, it is a start running, it is a job of the responsibility of the parent process has to be wait certain amount of time, right, till the process, child process has to be come back. So once it is come back after wait null function completed, so printf child complete. So that is a accountability of the parent process. Parent process will child the information, print the information on that is a system, that is child complete. So as soon as the child complete, then the it will be it come to the wait and this task is over. So now from this we are able to understand that C program, how to create a process, how this process will be make involved in execution of the task, that we have seen that. So one more flavor, that when newly created parent and child process share the information, as we seen in the previous slide. Since that child is a lowest, that is it is a smaller one which initially needs some support from the parents. So for that it will share the information with the parents. So parent process have a table entry, how many process they are created, what is that file description and all those. So the pointers will be there. So 0, 1, 2, these are the file descriptions are created by the parents, that you have a table. So this will be pointed to the file table. So the file status will be there, current file offset, vnode. In most of the Linux programming, vnode will be concept used for the files, right? So again that file status, current for the file description 1. Similarly file description 2 will be also there, and this will be vnode will be connected to the inode, right? Information correct this one, and information current file size and will be there. And similarly this information, the same information will be shared by the child 2, that is have ft0, ft1, ft2, that is a file flags, that is ft0 that will be created by the file table of the parent, that will be shared. ft1 is shared by this one, 2 will be shared by this this one. So similarly this we have corresponding vnode. So when the child was created by the parent, certain information will be shared at the beginning, right? So that is a concept I want to explain with help of the BSD Linux, this one. So now we have discussed enough about the file the child process creation by the parents, and how it is life, and what is its scope, and how it will be works, and how long will be there, and what are the conditions has to be satisfied to consider those process process task results, that is. So let we see process termination. Why process termination? Instead of when we create the process, lot of luggages, lot of space has occupied by the child process. Apart from the certain information will be shared with the child parent, right? So that's why when terminate or stop the process, it has to be handed over back to the operating system. Some space they are used, that is process executes last statement and then asks the operating system to delete it using exit command, that is a system call. So returns the status data from the child to parent via wait, right. So it immediately there hand over the all the luggages to the parents while executing the wait command that is run by the parent process. Process resources are deallocated by the OS, right. So since OS is a supreme power, whatever the resource given to the child process, it will be taken back, right. So the parent may terminate the execution of the children process using the abort, right. Parent willing to kill that process children process, it is also possible with help of the abort system call, some reason for doing so, right. So whatever the child has exceeded allocated resource, right, it is the more resource which is allocated by the parent. Task assigned to child is no longer required, it may be went in the loop, infinite loop. The parent is executing and OS does not allow child to continue if its parents permits terminates, right. So if it is a parents, it terminates itself, that is, so due to that reason parents will be the process will be terminated. So there are other possibility in most of the operating system here. So the kernel will be start execute instruction, the startup code will be executed and it will be main function will be executed. So the call will be there, again the main function will use the user defined function, built-in function will be there. So after return it has to be come back, that is a terminate, that is a naturally it will be terminate. So exit or this exit or that is this will be terminate and it have to report back to the kernel space. In other words, so OS will be taken back all the resource which is allocated to this process, right. So this will be happening in the sequence. So see, routine will be there, main function and user function, built-in functions, and all those it naturally completes its task and has to be report back and executed, and it to be by executing the exit instruction it has to be come back and it report back to the kernel mode. It automatically wind up at the process creation and terminated those process due to the executed task which is assigned by this program, right. What other possibility will be there? There are some exception handlers will be there. So that is does not return from the user defined function, that and also does not return from this main function, and also it is not does not return from this startup function. Then it has to be go to the common exit function has to be executed. So exit function go to the corresponding exit handler or exceptions which is part of the operating system, which will be act for the best service to provide for the user on the behalf of the OS they are doing, that is. So there will be send and it will send the signal and receive the return signal from all those, and that is a standard IO cleanup and all those will perform. Once it is happen cleaning of all those and they wind up the due to this executive exit function, this is all in the user mode. The kernel has to be high priority signal has to be sent to execute this via this execute system call, right. So after this once it is exit function, it will be exit to once call to and it will report back to the kernel. So that is the process termination to either diagram most of the. In other words, also the parents will be creates the process 1, process 2, and all three process after performing job they has to be joined back and give a result to the master who has created that child process, that is a parent process. There is other possibilities also. Out of three child process, 2 has not wind up, the one only reported back, then this will be zombie process, it will be killed automatically, and it will the only one process which is reported and it will be submitted to the result to the parent process. In other words, there is also none of the process has to be reported to the join, and they all become zombie and orphan process. They never terminate. They will never complete his job. It has to be parent process has to take a decision and will be wind up this task. That is a kind of process termination will be happening in most of the operating system. So let we see, some OS do not allow child to be exist if its parents has terminated. Right? Once the parents terminated the child, the OS do not have OS never allow that child process. If the process terminates automatically, then all its child must be terminated. Right? So once a parent himself is not available, then all these belonging childs will be automatically terminated. That is the meaning of that termination. Cascading termination. All children, grandchildren, etc. are terminated automatically automatically. If terminates is initiated by the operating system, the parent process may wait for terminate of child process by using the wait signal that system call. We have the child returns the status info, returns the from call return status and PID of the terminate process, right? So PID is equal to wait, that status will be there. So if no parent waiting did not invoke wait, process is a zombie, right? So that is a orphan process. If parent terminated without invoking wait, process is an orphan, right? So sometimes it will happen that there is an example Chrome browser which happen multiple process will be there. Web browser can run a single process. That if one website causes trouble, the entire browser can will be difficult. So Google Chrome browser is a multi-process with a different type of process will be observed here. So that is a operating system, home page, and New York Times and Google Chrome web, right? So the different process will be there. So this different process will be put into the category browser. Browser is a process managed which users interface, disk and network IO, and renders are there. So that is a consumers. So if browser is a producer and render is a consumer, process renders the web pages, deals with HTML, JavaScript. A new renderer created for each website is opened, runs in a sandbox, restricting disk and network IO, minimizing the effect of security exploits. That is a plugin process for each type of plugin. So these three type of process will be multiple process will be created in a Chrome browser. So anyhow, that after discussing process creation and termination, so let we see how this process will be talk each other, how they will exchange the information each other. We have seen that in the introductory that there is a shared memory concept and also message passing concept. So this we can see in detail. The shared memory concept is used for lot amount of memory can exchange or transfer, where message passing interface will be used for the short amount of memory can be exchanged between the process. Right. So let we see what are the facility, what are the fruitful communication has to be happen due to the various there should be performance expectation, there is a resource friendly has to be have communication between the process, there should be interoperability, accessibility, there should be data available at the respective buffer or where the data is going to be exchanging, there is a recoverability, reliability and security. There should be a scalability, so also monitorability. So these are all the adequate the performance adequate attributes that has to be assumed to be satisfied when the communication happen between the process A and process B, right? So process within a system may be independent or cooperating process, right? So cooperating process can affect by other process, including a sharing data, right? So by sharing the data, there will be affection will be the disturbance will be happening. So that conflicts will be happen. How these conflicts can be resolved by this, or it creates the inconsistency of the shared variables. Reasons for the cooperating process can see that. So there is a information sharing will be happening between the process. There is a computation speed up will be happening due to the fast sharing of the information. Computation modularity will be there. So due to the several models are involved, then also convenience we can observe that. So there is a cooperating process need some inter-process communication definitely. So two models, major models are message passing and shared memory passing technique will be discussed that. So what is a message passing? We can see this is as we are seen. This is for the small amount of data can be exchanged. That process A will be process B. How we can talk to each other. They want to exchange the information. So that is can be with help of the message queue. The message queue, there is a certain amount of space and under the near to the kernel. So that is several messages are there. So some message modify the process A and other message also modify the process B. So like this will be exchange the information. There is also a concept called shared memory concept, as we discussed that huge amount of memory can be transferred with the help of the this mechanism, that is a shared memory will be sandwiched between this among the various processor which in the user space memory. So there the data can be exchanged. That is a kind of certain bulletin board. So there's a message is here. So address will be shared by the very process. They can exchange the information with the help of this certain address and all those. So this kind of mechanism can see in detail. That is the taxonomy. You can see what are all the communication protocols are there, what are the system calls will be there in the interprocess communication. Once the process created, how they will exchange the information will be exchanged. There is a system called shared memory, as we seen in the previous. For the large amount of memory, data can be transferred. So there is message passing, there is a little amount of data can be exchanged with the process. So shared memory can be achieved with the help of the cooperating process. That is most of the consumer producer consumer problem, or the various problem, web browser, client server kind of problems will be there. So those are all kind of cooperating mechanism will be exercised. Message passing is a kind of the small amount of memory can be transferred, data can be transferred between the process. The one kind of can be achieved with help of the naming concept. So that is also called the synchronization concept and also called the buffering concept. Three major concepts they are going to be exercised in most of the message passing interfacing technology when the process want to exchange their information between them. So let we see naming how it will happen. Either maybe direct or indirect communication will be happen, where in the direct case there is a symmetry, direct naming will be there, and asymmetric memory will be there. Indirect communication should be also happening due to the with help of the mailbox, similar to the our post box or ports they will be called. That is synchronous mechanism will also exchange between the process, that is a blocking send, non-blocking send, and blocking receive and non-blocking mechanism. They are going to be exercised in the synchronization of the message passing IPC in the most of the process communication. There is also buffering, which will exchange information between the two process. There is a zero capacity, bounded buffer and unbounded buffer. So this is the complete taxonomy which is enlisted in the literature as a part of the two process can communicate each other to exchange information. Let we see one by one in detail. The shared memory through cooperating process. Independent process cannot affect or affected by the execution of the another process. So cooperating process can offer effect to be affected by the execution of the other process. So advantage of the process definitely. So we have information sharing and speed up will be there, modularity will be there, convenience will be there. After so the best example of this shared memory is a producer consumer problem. So paradigm for cooperating process, producer will produce the task and this is consumed by the consumer process. So here we can have unbounded buffer placed to no practical limit to the zero of the size of the buffer. Unbounded, that is a buffer which is the producer creates the jobs which you place in the buffer. So buffer will be limited size or unlimited size. If it is in unlimited size, the huge buffer will be there. So more number of the task has to be produced by the producer and keep there, and those will be consumed by the consumer. So bounded buffer is a limited one. There is a fixed size will be there. The producer cannot produce the huge amount of quantity they willing, but at the same rate relative to the consumer consumes in the same rate they has to be produced. So that is for that bounded buffer is more suitable. Let we see the simple code how the bounded buffer consumer case will be happening. So that is so here we can have the bounded the limited size will be created, size will be defined by the user, right? So this solution is correct by only buffer size elements, that is. So next will be producer produce the consumes. How will produce the consumes? It based on the size of the buffer, right? So until the buffer full, he is go on producing the items that is and place in the buffer. Once the buffer become full, is stop, right? So the producer will be stop, that is. So now the consumer has to be draw from the buffer, then consume it, right? So how will be consume? So it will be in is equal to out. So then it will be do nothing, that is, right? So in is equal to out, do nothing means so no jobs are there in the buffer, no tasks are in the buffer to consume. So that's why initial is equal to out, final. So that's why in is equal to out, no jobs are there to consume. If not, then the jobs are there, so we can just consume, we can take out from the buffer and consume it. So out is called to decrement the counter. So consume means it is consumed one job from that buffer, so that it will be completed. So here producer keep producing the jobs or the goods. So he keep on deposited the goods here. So until fill that buffer full. Once that is full, then it has to be go back. That is till it is in the loop till complete, till buffer become full. It is keep on producing that and keeping goods and depositing here, right? Once it become full, then the producer stop the producing the goods. So even in between, after producing something, a few of them, then the consumer may start to consume them, right? So once it will take the jobs goods from the deposit buffer, and it will be start consuming that. So how long it will be consumed? Till it become the empty. That if it is jobs are there, so goods are there in the deposit or buffer, it will keep on consuming that. So buffer is not full, then it will be it is consuming that. Buffer is empty, then it will be wait for the producer has to be produced and keep that is. So that is a kind of mechanism, the client server, web server, and producer consumer problem, that is. So an area of memory shared shared with the process that we wish to communicate. The communication under control of the user's process, not the operating system. So major issue to provide a method that allow user process to synchronize their action when the access shared memory, right? We will discuss synchronization in the subsequent. So after discussing enough about message passing, shared memory concept for large amount of data can be transferred between the process. So that is a interprocess communication. So second major concept, that is a message passing interface. So this kind of mechanism is popular. Most of the operating system have adopted this, right? Mechanism for process to be communicate and to synchronize their access. So message system process communicate with each other without resorting to shared variable. So shared variables are fixed, that is, as they will be used. One kind of mechanism provide a two operations: send message, receive message. So send the message to the destination process, receive the message from the source process. So that's all the two protocols they exercise. The message is either fixed or variable size. So message maybe change that. So such kind of mechanism can be achieved with the naming. So naming especially with help of the pipes. What is a pipe technology? You can see. So simple flow of mechanism, that is a pipe is a unidirectional. It is unstructured data stream will be there. So the pipe is a first in first out, right? So right at end, reader will receive the front of the pipe. Reader will be received from the front of the pipe. Once the read the data, remove from the pipe, right? So not available for other users. So that is a major observation here in the pipe concept. Once the data read by the process or destination process, so the data has once for all removed from the pipe in that. So no other process is able to access that, right? So it is not that copy is not at all available in the pipe. How other process can get it, right? Process try to read empty pipe, blocks until more data is written to pipe, right? So process try to write a full pipe, stops until another process reads the. That we discuss in the consumer producer consumer rights. So that till pipe become full, that process has to be keep on producing, right? So that then once the receiver has to be start read, then it become empty. That is, system call creates the pipe, returns the two file description, one for reading, one for writing, right? With help of the system call. So fork will be there. Now we have discussed that process creation. So there the two file description will be created, one for reading, one for writing. File description are shared to the child also. So let me see, the parent process will be run that fork. So the to the fork, that file description one will be created. So that will be go for the reading, reading, and one for reading and one for writing. That is, so it will be right here, and it will be it go to the child process. So the child process will be after fork, the child process will be get the receive the data from the pipe, right? So that is that, and that complete completion will be happening. So again that child will be put and into the pipe, so the parent will be read from the this side, that is. So here after closing all file description, we can see parent process field 1 will be there, so it go to the pipe, and from the pipe the child process will be read, that is right, send receive. So it will send from the parent, child will be receive, that is right. So this further, so we can see the pipe concept will discuss in subsequently in the subsequent model in detail. So right now we can see how this property of the pipe. So do not have a name, hence child process is shared the this process, right. However, pipes treated as a file description, one for read and one for write. So pipe remain unclosed after fork execute that, right. So pipe not distinguish between the message, they just read a fixed number of bytes, it will not discriminate. So used for get output command, input to a command, so cascade the output to one program to second program, so on. So their pipe can be utilized. So what are the limitation of the pipe? Reading a data removes the pipe, that is so the data is available in the pipe, is one process read, that is, or receive that, and data will be vanished. So no other process can access that, so cannot be used to broadcast, that is a problem. So pipe will treat data as a byte stream, has no knowledge about the message boundary, so it doesn't worry about that the data, so it have only stream, that is. So in case multiple readers on a pipe, writer cannot send to a specific reader, so that is a problem in the pipe concept. So that is a naming pipe we have discussed. So how can come out this can come out with the other concept called what is called mailbox, right. If the process P and Q wish to communicate, so they need a that system call, establish a communication link between them, right. So exchange the message via send and receive. So this implementation issues are there, of course. How link established, and can link associated with more than two process, how many links can be there between every pair of communicating process. So what is the capacity of the link? So the size of the message that can link, can accommodate fixed or variable. Is a link directional by or any implementation communication link will be required for hardware and network physically, and logically there is a direct indirect communication will be there, synchronization will be there, asynchronous mechanism will be adopted, automatic and exploiting buffer will be also operated. So coming to the naming, the direct communication what we discuss, send and receive. So process must name each other explicitly. Send P message, send message to process P. So message length is a fixed or a variable. So it the X process will be sending to the process P, right. So receive a message from Q. So the earlier process may be Q. So it is a receiving message from the process Q. So property of the communication link, we can see that. So links are established automatically. So link is associated with exactly one pair of communicating process. So between each process there is exact one link. The sub questions rise in the previous slide. So link may be unidirectional but bidirectional normally. So symmetry concept will be there. Symmetry, what is symmetry? Receive Q to message. So it is a receive the message from the process Q, right. Process Q. So that is a send P message to process Q. So receive Q message. So receive the message from Q, that is a send message to P. So that is a direct communication will be there. So that is a symmetry of direct communication. Asymmetry, you can see that asymmetry, that is a variation of the variation of this direct communication. Send P to message, receive vary message, right. So it can receive from anybody, right. So it can receive from multiple. So it can receive from multiple process. So send S, so that is a C1 C2 are there. Send S to message 1, send S to message 2. So the two messages received by the this one S. So S is a multiple process is a receiving a message, that is a asymmetry. So receive and it is a kind of server will be happening, that is. So indirect communication, message are directed and received from the mailbox. So each mailbox has a ID. So each have unique ID, that is. So we have process can communicate only if they share the mailbox. So properties of communication link. Link establishes only process share the common mailbox. So link may be associated with the many process. So it is all similar to our what we call post box. So each process, each pair of process may share several communication. So that's similar to our what is post box. So the creates the new mailbox, that is a port. So send and receive messages through mailbox. So destroy a mailbox. Then we have a primitives are defined here. That is a send message and message to mailbox. So send a receive a message mailbox. So this kind of mechanism will be happening. That is, so client, the customer will post the letter, and there is a postman will be there. So postman will be sought, that is that it will be sent to the destination mailboxes. So that from the destination mailbox, so there will go to the again destination. So again mailbox, that destination mailbox, post box will be there. From post office to there is a postman will be there. So postman will be sent to the destination. So that will happen here, right? So this kind of mechanism we can see indirect communication, the sharing P1 to P2 P3 share mailbox. So P1 sends the P2 P3 receive, who gets the message solution. So allow link to be associated with most two process. So only one process at a time execute receive, that is, so two process will be there, only one process can receive at a time. So allow the system to select arbitrarily receiver, sender is notified who receives the that is, right. Synchronization, we can see that communication take via system call send and receive the different mechanism, we can see that. So blocking send, sending stopped until message is received, right. So the sender will wait for till that earlier message has to be received by the receiver. So that is a blocking, and until that the sender will not send second message. So non-blocking send, so the non-blocking send means sender will keep on sending, that is, so whether the receiver received or not, you don't worry about that, message is keep sending. So blocking receive is a receive stopped until message is available, right. So message is available, then it receive, otherwise it is will be stop receiving, it close the door of receiving that, right. So non-blocking receive, it is receive either valid message or null, it is keep on receive the messages are the valid message or the old message. So it is a non-blocking receive. So these are the four mechanisms they will going to be exercised in the synchronization of the message passing concept, and the small amount of data they can exchange between the two process, either these kind of technology, the system calls or mechanism they are going to be accessed. The blocking receive and blocking send, these are called rendigious between source and destination. So blocking send, blocking receive is a rendigious between source and receiver, because it is a fruitful mechanism, fruitful communication. No difficulties here, no invalid data will be rushed here, right. So there is a systematic communication will be happening, blocking send and blocking receive. So this will be a most popular protocol which will be accessed in most of the operating system. So this most of the producer consume problem we have seen that, so that they are going to exercise this blocking send and blocking receive mechanism, which in order to achieve festival between the source and the receiver, destination and receiver. So what is a buffer mechanism? There is another method of the message passing IPC concept. There is a between two process, there is a buffer will be there. So process 1 and one process 2, there is process 1 you send the data, it go to sit into the buffer, so it will from the buffer to receive the destination process. So this kind of buffering will be going to be different mechanism, so that again the process destination process send back the result, the data to the received one, that is a buffer via again buffer. So again it will be received. So this can be achieved with help of the, that is a zero capacity of the buffer and also bounded capacity of the buffer, unbounded capacity of the buffer. So this can be message stay in a temporary queue, that is a buffer, until exchange by a direct or indirect. So the zero capacity message system with a maximum or no buffering. So that is a that is a small amount of that is. So bounded capacity, it is finite length will be there. The depends upon the size, it will be data will be stored there. So unbounded is a infinite, that is infinite length will be there. Message wait sender will be not stop and keep sending, and it will be happening, that is. So this kind of mechanism is a part of the what is called IPC. So let me summarize this. The process concept we discuss, creation, especially termination, and IPC we have seen majorly the two protocols, that shared memory and message passing. Under message passing we have seen that naming and through the pipe and mailboxes, and also synchronization and buffer mechanism, we discussed that. So I hope it is crystal clear from this session, the process creation, termination, how they communicate each other. So that we have discussed in detail. So that is we can get from the textbook called Abraham Silver, Schatz et al. There is also reference books we have going to be observed as per the textbook, as per the curriculum mentioned. And thank you for patient listening and shown an interest on process creation, termination, and inter-process communication system calls as a part of the session 6 of module 1. Thank you, coordinator and moderator, for giving an opportunity to create this video lecture, and also